into the fourth mother box. Let's try this again. You are following us at Fourth Mother Box on Instagram and TikTok, youtube.com/Fourth Mother Box. It's been one hell of a week. I'm still here patiently waiting for my daughter, but that's okay. We're here with farts, diarrhea, and opinions nobody asked for to talk this week. I am Tom Oakley. Thank you for joining us within the madness. Joining me as always is Mr. Kyle Cosentino. Kyle, how the hell are you today?
Well, I'm happy to have this week be over.
Yes. I mean, we were, high highs, low lows, right? We were graced with a fantastic Star Wars series, and we're going to get into that in a second, in Ahsoka, that we've been long awaiting for. But then, yeah, it's just it's the week. It drags on. I'm sitting here waiting over here. Kyle's burning in Chicago. The elites of the elites of the elites. The Patriots. That the villains in Metal Gear Solid. They turn the temperature of the world up so they can push agendas and taxes and stuff.
Yep, that's exactly what they do
it's
here.
Exactly what's going on and what's happening. Look into it. Google, Bing, ask Jeeves. I don't care anymore.
I wish it was just like Chronically Fall or something like that. That would be fine.
Chronically Fall. Yeah, I'd love that. Fall football weather. Just like the 60, 50 degrees. That was the shit right there. Thankfully, we get that in Florida for like half a day, I think. But that's okay. Speaking of weather, we got ourselves a little bit of a potential Hurricane 1 next week when my daughter's supposed to be born. So, whatever. That's just how it happens, I suppose, and that's a great way to assimilate to Florida. But she might be born around September 1st. There's a chance there. There's a timeline there where that works out, and that's the return to Hogwarts date for Harry Potter. So that'd be a pretty cool date. If she's born on August 29th, that's Batu's birthday. So we've got lots of dates to shoot towards here. So let's go.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's nothing like an impending hurricane and while you're waiting for your daughter to be born, your first one.
Yes.
To give you a little anxiety.
Right. That's okay. It's supposed to be low end or a tropical depression, but that's all right. I've in the past 2 years in Florida, I've actually prepped for that stuff, so I'm prepared. Not like for months, but I've got enough for some weeks, and bought some more stuff for her.
Sometimes, well, at least in Chicago, I mean, I don't know how it is in Florida, but there's a lot of fake news when it comes to the weather because they always say it's going to be a lot worse than it is. And like people lose their minds and they always flock to the grocery store. And it's kind of insane how people get,
Mm-hmm.
like they say there's going to be a little rain and then people flock to the grocery store like
Yeah.
it's the end of the world. It's like they've never seen fucking rain before.
Or like snow.
They're even worse with snow. I'm like, you're from Chicago. People lose their shit in like, the southern states when there's little snow because they don't know how to handle it. But we know how to handle it. We should fucking specialize in handling in snow. But people they lose their mind still. It's just some fucking white stuff that's on the ground. You have to drive in it. It sucks. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Yeah, fuck off is right. You should have been. And Kyle has an infamous rant out there on our Fourth Mother Box Instagram about Chicago, which I believe got a decent amount of views. So keep up the Chicago hate.
I should just be like the angry angry short Chicago man or something. The short angry man, short angry Chicago man podcast, and I'll just yell about Chicago for like fucking 3 hours every week.
You should do it sitting in traffic so you're extra pissed. What the hell you going on here? You gotta get this bowl of sausage. Yeah, fuck you bald piece of shit.
Well, I would have all the time in the world, and driving anywhere in Chicago because there's always fucking road construction. You can't go anywhere without road construction. And if you're running late to your job, you're always behind a semi truck. 100% of the time. Mm-hmm. If you're from Chicago, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
What does this podcast come to now? Are we old? We're sitting here bitching about weather and traffic. What the fuck?
Well, I think everybody can relate, at least in Chicago, about weather and traffic.
True.
Because we don't have anything else going on here. Just that's pretty much it. Weather, traffic, and taxes.
Yeah, that's everybody's got that going on. When yeah, everybody's got that going on. But do you wanna real quick maybe rip into the Crestwood movie theater over there since you saw a certain band do their certain
Um,
live show?
okay, you know who's a people think Taylor Swift fans are passionate and crazy, but nobody wants to fuck with Metallica fans. Okay, and let me tell you why. Because we will fucking destroy shit. And it's lucky it didn't happen. But we were five people. There was five people in this theater on Monday to see Metallica, quote unquote, live. They weren't live, but it was pre-recorded. And I was with Tim and his girlfriend, and the showing was at 8 p.m. And we got there and we waited and we stared at a black screen for an hour. Now I've never been in a movie theater where this had happened. And one of the guys who was obviously a Metallica fan. He's like, this happened to us on Friday night where we had to wait an hour before we saw anything. And, that would have made sense for us because, like, we all know that Metallica infamously doesn't always show up to stage on time. You're waiting forever for them. Just if you ever have to stand in the front, if you ever get to stand in the front row of Metallica, you've earned that shit because you waited all day. Sometimes you got soaked in the rain. Sometimes you pissed your pants while you're holding on to the railing. You waited a long time. But this didn't make sense because we were waiting and this if there wasn't a live show, it was just pre-recorded from Sunday night. So we were pissed. And we talked to the manager a couple times to try to get it going, and they eventually got it going, and it was in the middle of the sixth song of the set. So we missed the opening, we missed the ecstasy of gold. The like arguably like one of the best parts about seeing Metallica
Mm.
in person is like them getting on stage. So they opened up with we were it opened up and it was like in the middle of 72 seasons. So I was already like really pissed because I wanted to see that live. And um, you know, I mean, I guess in any case, we stayed for the rest of the time. I was telling Tom because this may not be our first attempt at doing the podcast tonight, but I was telling Tom earlier that my favorite part of the show was when they played "You Must Burn," and then they fucked up the middle part to the point where they had to redo it after the song was over. And James said when they finished the song, they're like that. James was like that was so unprofessional, and it was just funny because like they are so classy with fuck ups. Like you see some bands and they're like they lose their mind when they fuck up songs like I don't know, maybe you're a local band and you fuck up a Raining Blood or something like that trying to play it.
Our worst
Um,
fuck up was at the VFW Ryan and Randy's last show. That was our worst. Everybody keeps forgetting that.
I forgot it, so I don't even know what you're talking about. So, which is probably good.
Ryan's voice blew out. That was the infamous gig at the VFW hall we played on with. Um, this was the show that we ran. Yeah, yeah. I can text you about that later. Maybe we can actually talk about that on an episode. But we had a horrible show, and we blamed Hannah for wearing sandals while playing.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know what I remember real quick? I remember we played. What was that? Upper maybe it was Upper Crust Pizza. We had it filmed, and we just played so many songs that night where Hannah just couldn't do it anymore. So like, you see the camera on us playing, and you just see Hannah like hunched over his amp, like gasping for air, and it was actually kind of pretty funny.
No, that wasn't Upper Crust. That was our second time we played Ray's Pizza. It was actually our third
Ray's
gig.
Pizza.
That was our third gig ever, and we were playing Cat Scratch Fever when he was doing that.
Yeah, that was funny as shit.
That was good times though. I loved playing Ray's Pizza. God, we
And
packed we packed that fucking place the first time. Man,
yeah, well, we were fucking scourge.
that's right.
Like the shittiest band on the south side of Chicago. Well, we were the shitty band of south side Chicago,
It's true.
right?
That's true. The reemergence will come. Stuff's a happening. But anything more to say about Metallica? Sorry, I got off on a tangent there about the Scourge.
No, they played really good. They did a really good job. I think I was mentioning to Tom earlier that after they fucked up You Must Burn, Lars went up to the microphone and he's like, I'm so glad that happened while we were recording this live, or we were, streaming this live
You're
across the
so
world.
happy that it happened. In
So
his little
they,
Danish accent.
I just think they just do it like so they fuck up and they're not upset about it. Like they just do it real professionally.
Hmm.
Like it's really good. And I know a lot of bands just like lose their fucking shit. But
Yep.
I think that's the important part of like being in a band is like you gotta have fun with it and
Yeah.
just realize that you're not like perfect and it's okay to screw up sometimes,
Hmm.
especially like, it's humbling to see these gods, that we idolized growing up and even still now to really just like plots on stage, like
I,
so it's like even remember like some of the recordings, like I had a live recording of Metallica, one of their sets, and they played Ride the Lightning, and James just forgot like the
I
whole of
forgot the fucking words. Yeah, he fucked up Ride
hilarious,
the Lightning. Yeah,
hilarious,
that was good. Yeah.
hilarious.
Um,
So
do you have? I have a. I remember being at a show where they fucked up the opening of a song. It was on their Madly in Anger with the World tour. The second night of one of those shows. I can't remember if you and I were at those because, like, when they played twice, I don't know. But it was one of the earlier times I saw Metallica, and they were going into Creeping Death, and James was, like, getting the crowd to go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the band started playing, dun, 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 but there were no drums. Lars wasn't at his kit. So they all stopped, and, like, Rob gets on the mic, and he's like, have you seen our drummer? Be like having fun with it. And then Lars comes back like up from the stage, and he's like waving to the crowd. He's like, sorry, and then he goes over to James, and he doesn't go up to the mic, but he goes close to James. He's like, sorry, I had to take a shit, and you could hear it in the mic. So he's like, I'm sorry, I had to take a shit, and I might be able to find this. I swear to God, I might be able to find this on my Nugs subscription. We've got to hear Lars Ulrich tell James that he's got to take a shit, but. And then James goes, he's like, oh, you don't want to know what he told me or something like that. He's like, and then he's like, the way he's walking, you can tell. And then they go into playing Creeping Death. So, have you ever been at a show where they fucked something up like that you can recall?
not that I can really recall. Not that it comes to mind anyway. I mean, I think you would be better at like
Yeah.
remembering that stuff.
Yeah, I just don't remember if you and I were at that show. I feel like I was at that show by myself. Well, not by myself, but with like, I think I went to a show with JR and like somebody I worked with at that time. Crazy stuff. Oh, when was that? That was like August in Chicago. Jesus Christ, how the fuck did I remember that? August 20. Holy shit. Those two concerts in 2004, Kyle, were August. One of them was August 28th at the Allstate Arena, and the other one was August 27th. So they played back-to-back nights. Pretty fucking
Wow.
wild. That's almost 19 years ago. That is crazy. Okay. Here's Creeping Death.
Let's try it again. You're so good
Yeah,
at it.
yeah. This is it. Because James just said, "Let's try that again." So Kyle won't be able to hear this until he listens back to
That's
it.
what it seems like.
So Kyle, you're gonna get silence. I want people to actually hear this to tell them I'm
All right.
not crazy.
So I need your help
All right.
out there, and I would like it. It would be really cool if everyone here helped me to count in the next song. Now you just need to know how to count to 4, and whether you know it or not, if you go up to 4, go up to 3, go as high as you can, but do it loud. All right. Someone will help you out. It's kind of fast. Are you ready? No. Are you ready? All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah!
Has anybody seen our drummer? We're missing a drummer right now, mate.
Wow. That was a great build-up, wasn't it? These guys were so great.
I just had to take a crack. I'm sorry about that. You don't want to share that with anybody.
I don't want to share what you just told me. I do not. No, I don't want to share that. The way he's
Oh my god. Oh shit, hold on.
walking, you can figure it out.
Yeah. I forgot that part. But yep, confirmed. You could totally hear it. Lars comes back up and tells him, sorry, I had to take a crap. You don't want to share that with them. Oh, good times. So fucking great. So let's break that down. Lars literally got off his kit to go on like wherever they go to break. Like, did Lars shit in a bucket? I want to know this.
I wonder, like, I mean, like, do you go under stage? Like, they have like I guess a bucket down there or some sort of toilet.
And can I get the bucket? That's really why I'm asking. No, I'm kidding. I'm not that much of a freak. Or am I? But it's funny to think if Lars like left because they got done playing Sad But True. Yeah, Winston agrees. They got done playing Sad But True, and then that was the lead into Creeping Death. So he had to, from the end of Sad But True to starting of Creeping Death, to take a bucket dump. Wonder how long that takes. But
Wow.
One day, if one of us ever meets Lars again, or meets Lars, we have to ask him about the bucket dump, or at least blow him up on Instagram, like asking him on everything he posts. Lars, can you tell us the bucket dump from August 28th, 2004?
Somehow I feel like he would remember that.
I think he would. I have to ask him about this. We have to ask him.
You know what? You know what? We could ask Tim to ask him that because he's gonna meet him next year.
Absolutely, Tim.
So Tim, ask him about the bucket dump story.
2004 at Allstate Arena. Please, I want to know if he pooped in a bucket. We need to know.
That's a great way to meet Lars. Hey, Lars, nice to meet you. I've been a fan all your life. Now tell us about the bucket dump story.
How many times have you dumped in a bucket? Can you dump in my bucket?
Oh, this guy's a little weird. I don't know.
No. Lars is like ultimately fascinated with. He's like, man, I've been taking bucket dumps since '82. You know, they're great. I take bucket dumps at home.
All right.
Oh, let's talk about Ahsoka before we go completely off the rails here. I mean, we're somewhere.
Before we go into Ahsoka, let's talk a little bit about something we read earlier today. Bray Wyatt.
Oh yeah, Jesus.
He passed away. I mean, I'm not like into wrestling, but I still just know that he's like hugely popular, and he's 36, and he just passed away of like a heart attack. It's crazy.
So Bray Wyatt, former WWE champion, wrestled The Undertaker at WrestleMania. He's been out for a decent amount of time. His health has been kind of up and down. I didn't know that he had a heart problem, like an actual heart problem, and he got COVID earlier this year, and this was shared. This is allegedly what I read from a friend of the family on Instagram, Twitter, X, one of the social media channels, that when he got COVID earlier this year, that just exacerbated the issue. So it's and especially Kyle sent this to me, and I didn't see it. And it's just like, when you look at that, it just kind of shocks you to your core. And it's unfortunate when you see somebody that young, the first thing you think of is, oh God, I hope they didn't take their own life kind of thing. But then when you learn it's something as tragic, as that, you don't anticipate that. It's tough for me. I've dealt with the morality side of things for a while, but it just kind of makes you count your blessings a little bit. So rest in power to Bray Wyatt and his friends and family. It's a big loss for the wrestling world.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't know what's more disturbing is like the fact that he died so young, or like it could have been suicide, right?
Right.
That happens to a lot of people in the spotlight. The pressure of like, continually performing at such a intense level when you're making so much money and people are counting on you. Like that's just so much to
This
take on.
Bray Wyatt on like the 30th anniversary of Raw, I think it was. One of like the big Raw shows, he literally got the torch passed to him from the Undertaker, like on Raw. Like that's that. To Kyle's point, that's heavy as a head that wears a crown. But
Yeah.
and it's even more tragic that it's unfortunately that something like this just took him from the wrestling world. I don't know. It's messed up. So
It's kind of like, it's a shame because he was in his like kind of infancy in this business. I mean, he was a rising star. Well, he wasn't he was like the star, and it kind of reminds me of
he's
like
been in the
Heath
business for a
Ledger.
minute. Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of like Heath Ledger and even Chadwick Boseman, like like here's three guys that were like just really getting their career started and just were like at top of their game,
Yep.
and then they pass away tragically, and it's just fucking bullshit.
Bullshit. Yeah. So we here don't have any survivor's guilt because we just have to carry on the legacy. I know WWE will give him a tribute tonight, SmackDown, when that airs. And I'm sure AEW, they have a huge event on Sunday with out there across the pond. I'm sure they'll do something for Bray because they're wrestling. There may be competition, but I know it's a close family. So
Yeah, sucks.
it does suck. But the only thing we could do is continue on. And one of the bright spots of this week was Ahsoka, the 2-episode premiere that dropped on Tuesday, the 22nd, at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That'd be 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. And for those of you keeping count, if you live in Arizona, that'd be 6 p.m. So, Kyle, I've done lots of talking about Ahsoka, and I want to do more, but I'm really, really curious to hear how you felt about the first 2 episodes.
Well, you know, uh, I actually, when it debuted on Tuesday night, I actually started watching. I watched like 75% of the first episode, and I fell asleep. And it's only not because I didn't like it, but because like I was just up late the night before, and I didn't sleep
Yeah.
after seeing Metallica. I mean, we all could understand that, right? But then I went back the next morning and I rewatched what I missed. First 2 episodes were excellent. Like this is kind of what I was talking about, when we were anticipating Ahsoka coming out. I don't really know a lot about her, and like I was talking to you earlier this week that people who haven't seen Rebels might not really understand this character or where she's coming from, and they didn't really spoon feed it to either, which I think is actually a good thing. Even though I didn't see Rebels, like it kind of makes me interested to go back and see like, I want to learn about Ezra Bridger and Sabine Wren and all these people that are just seem like they coalesce so well together, and we don't even know who they are,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or at least I don't. And it's cool. Like it's kind of back to where I think Star Wars should be after the disastrous Andor. I know everybody hates me for it. We don't have to go through it. Okay, we all know that I hate it. I don't have to go through why. But this is the Star Wars I like. It's like it's action. It's got like really good characters. It's got memorable characters. It has that awesome, really cute Loth cat that we saw in Jedi Survivor. We saw a lot of them. You could pet them. That they're wonderful. I love the Loth cats. I'm going to Disney in a couple weeks. I better see a fucking Loth cat somewhere in Batu that I can purchase.
UL in the
So
creature stall.
Disney, you better get on that. I want a Loth cat. I want to see
I'm pretty
Ahsoka.
sure you can buy a Loth cat there.
Oh, good. I want a Loth cat.
Like almost, I think. Yeah.
That's what I want. So I was really impressed. Like I think it was good. It was a good start to the show. I don't know how many episodes there is, but
8.
I think okay. So this, judging by the first 2 episodes, it just seems like this series can like there's a it seems like you can have many series many seasons surrounding this character, it seems, because it seems like there's a big story to tell. Like they're looking for this map to try and find General Admiral Thrawn, and that something happened with Ezra Bridger. Like they did something with Purgles, something like that, right? And you were telling me in season 4 of Rebels,
Yes.
like they were like shot off into like some galaxy far, far away, and
Mm-hmm.
they haven't been found. They don't really know what happened. They
Mm-hmm.
don't know if they've really survived.
Yeah. I can do here. Let me do this real quick. I could do a quick elevator pitch for Rebels for you, Kyle, and anybody who doesn't understand. So, one thing I want to go back and say real quick about Ahsoka, who the show is about, and it's titled after. And I agree with everything you said. This series is original trilogy feels, gave me goosebumps from the title crawl of the episode. We got a fucking title crawl to a ship in space. Haven't seen that since episode 9, Rise of Skywalker. Fucking, I'm so happy with that. So Ahsoka, she was Anakin Skywalker's Padawan, okay? We learn a bunch about her in the Clone Wars. She trains with clone troopers. She makes a very close, tight-knit relationship with clone trooper Captain Rex, who was able to get with Ahsoka's help, was able to get her his inhibitor chip, Jesus Christ, out. So now he helps the rebellion. Ahsoka's story isn't necessarily told too much in Rebels. Rebels is really more about the Ghost Crew. That's Hera Syndulla, Kanan Jarrus, Ezra Bridger, Zeb Aurelios, and Chopper, and Sabine Wren. And then all these characters that join the rebellion. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so you kind of have to watch Rebels and Clone Wars,
No.
to really get the full.
Well, the full like to know who Ahsoka Tano is and to see all of her many amazing interactions and missions with Anakin Skywalker and know why she walked away from the Jedi Order and away from Anakin and why she carries guilt for that, right? Like, to know all of that. Ahsoka shines in season 7 of the Clone Wars. I say that all the time. If you want to know a little bit about her redemption tale and like the start of her arc, and the Clone Wars will tell you why she infamously says, "I am no Jedi." And then Rebels is going to tell you the story arc that she's on now and continuing in the Ahsoka series, just like Kyle said. Looking for Grand Admiral Thrawn, because at the end of Rebels Season 4, Ezra sacrifices himself, kind of lies to the Ghost Crew, gets on to the Star Cruiser or the Star Destroyer that Thrawn is on, and he's sending other people of the rebellion. I can't remember who it was. Might have been Mart doing that, to send a signal out in like a certain aspect of space, and the signal brings the Purgle, and we learn who the Purgle is in several episodes prior to this, and they travel through hyperspace, but Ezra has a connection with creatures, in the galaxy, and he has this connection with the Purgle, so through the Force, he basically used them to destroy the fleet that, Grand Admiral Thrawn's fleet over the Thal, which is Ezra's hometown, and then he takes the cruiser that him and Thrawn are in, the Purgle wrap it up, and they jump into hyperspace, and they're gone, and nobody knows where they went. Until Ahsoka, which we found out where at least Thrawn is.
And they never explored that in Rebels.
No, because that's when Rebels ended. Ended right there. They jump into hyperspace, and it's done.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's like a cool story. So that's like a cool continuance, and how exciting it is for people who love Rebels. And I know you guys over there on Jedi Talk always have talked very positively about Rebels.
Yep.
I wanted to ask, you said Ezra Bridger has a connection with creatures. Is this similar to what we saw with Cal Kestis in Jedi Survivor?
Yeah, him like taming the creatures a bit, yeah. But Ezra, he's interacted. He was one of the first people to see Loth wolves for the first time in 100 years on Lothal. They're giant wolves who are force sensitive, who he can communicate with. The Loth
force sensitive wolves.
Yes.
Holy shit.
Yeah. That's a big part of Rebels. That's a big part of Kanan Jarrus's story arc too. It's really cool.
I feel like that's the first I've heard of like creatures having the Force.
I mean, creatures like that. Yeah, I mean, but there's always been Force sensitive life in Star Wars, and I know they've mentioned it kind of sporadically, but sentient beings, the one who can understand it and manipulate it, they become Jedi.
Actually, you could say Yoda. I didn't think of this, but like Yoda is not human, and
right.
he's.
But
I mean,
he's a sentient like species. Like
Right.
the Loth wolves aren't. It's just he's still like a wolf, but they have some sort of connection to the Force. Just think of Maz Kanata. What she says in the Force Awakens, it's like she's not Force sensitive, but she knows the Force. So it's I think it's like something along the lines of that. But Ezra can communicate with them on like a deeper level, and he communicates with lots of different creatures throughout. Like the Ghost Crew helped tame like these spiders. Oh, another thing with Rebels, it completes Darth Maul's story arc, and it's fucking awesome. You see his final moments with Obi-Wan Kenobi. There's Darksaber lore. There's Mandalorian lore. You see why Bo-Katan thinks that she ruined Mandalore when she accepts the Darksaber from Sabine Wren. There's lots of 4 seasons of Rebels. It's worth it.
And so Sabine is like a former Mandalorian. That's what I learned in the
Current
first 2
Mandalorian.
episodes.
She's
Current.
yeah. She's like a practicing Mandalorian. Think of her as like a Bo-Katan Mandalorian. She doesn't put her helmet on, but Sabine's like a rebel against society type of character anyway. She's my favorite Mandalorian. Always has been. She's awesome. And she's
Interesting.
She's wielding this bad boy right now, Mr. Ezra Bridger's lightsaber that I'm showing on video that I have. Except she's made some modifications, and I'm sure I'll buy that when they release it at Doc Ondars. Go ahead, Kyle.
So I haven't listened to your Jedi Talk breakdown of Ahsoka yet. I'm going to do that this probably starting tomorrow. Are you guys pretty unanimous that you guys were fairly positive?
Yes.
About it?
Absolutely positive. We absolutely, I said that twice, but we adore this, the direction it's going. 9 and above for everybody for the first 2 episodes. Like I said, original trilogy vibes. This is setting up. This has a high potential to be better than The Mandalorian already. It started out very well.
I could see that because, like, The Mandalorian the characters are great. The story is great, but I feel like this is really more connected and to the Star Wars overall story in a much bigger way. And so I could really see amazing things coming out of this, especially with, the fact that Anakin was, Ahsoka Tano's master, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And we all know that that's going to come into play. I just know we're going to get like some sort of Vader fight with Ahsoka, and that's going to be really fucking cool.
We have that in Rebels already. The infamous scene at the end of season 2 of Rebels. Ahsoka stays back to fight Vader, and she's already has suspicions that he's Anakin, but then she like tells herself, no, it's not him. And then she's fighting Vader, and she like lightsaber hits his face and knocks a good part of his mask off, just like it did in Kenobi. And then he lifts up and he looks at her, and Ahsoka knows right away. She goes, Anakin. And then they have a nice little back and forth, and you think Ahsoka dies at the end of that episode. If anything, I think in Ahsoka, what we're going to get with Anakin is going to be either like a Force ghost to Ahsoka, or we're going to get like a flashback to him training her, like during like the time of the Clone Wars animation. Like we'll get live action that time, like during the Clone Wars between like episodes 2 and 3.
Now, I know we've been like saying this and asking this question for, I don't know, a long time. Do you think we're going to get any sort of connection or an appearance from Mr. Cal Kestis?
In Ahsoka, no, I don't. Well, you know what? I don't know now.
They've been kind of teasing it for a long time.
The only reason I say this, and I don't know if you saw the most recent video I posted on Jedi Talk, but we talk about this on the episode, and you'll hear us talking about it when you listen. But there's concept art from the first time we see Ahsoka in the series where she fights those assassin droids when she gets the map and comes back up. Those pillars in the concept art have Zepho on them. And we know of the Zepho from Fallen Order.
Mm-hmm.
And we're getting spoiler into the episodes of Ahsoka now, but Morgan Elsbeth, who we find out's a fucking Night Sister, by the way. Holy shit.
Yeah, there's another connection there
Yeah.
because Night Sisters were kind of, I don't know if it was exclusive to the Fallen Order story,
No.
but
They explored Dathomir in Rebels. They explored it in the Clone Wars too. So Night
okay.
Sisters are Night Sisters. The spirits of Night Sisters actually possessed Kanan and Sabine Wren in Rebels, and Ezra and Darth Maul had to fight them to save them to get the Night Sisters out of their body, or the spirits of the Night Sisters rather. So anyway, she's a Night Sister, and she was talking to get Thrawn back. He's in another galaxy, so this is like a completely different galaxy from the Star Wars galaxy that we know of. And then Balin, one of the new characters, Balin Skull, who's like not a Jedi but not a Sith, with his apprentice Shin, asking like, what is this technology? What is this place? And it's like it's like old technology from an ancient civilization. The Zepho are an ancient civilization, and the timing couldn't have been better because I was just replaying Jedi Survivor today as I'm sitting waiting for Lily to come. And when you're walking into Seer's stronghold in Jeddah, Cal asks Eno Cordova after he meets him officially, whatever happened with your search for the Zepho. And Eno Cordova said something along the lines of, nothing really. I just found traces into the unknown regions. I mean, this could be pure coincidence, but man, are the Zepho chilling with Thrawn and Ezra up there in a different galaxy? Is this where the Zepho went to kind of save their people, save their planet? I don't know. Tantalor could come into mix here. There could be a shocking Fallen Order survivor. Brad seems convinced that Merrick, that Inquisitor dude who's with Balin and Shin, is Cal, which I would not be shocked in the very end, but I think it's more Ezra than it would be Cal, and that's not how I'd want Cal to be involved in this story. Like, I'd want them to go to Cal to get help knowing about the Zepho, because he's probably like the only one who has any information on it, with Seer and Eno being both dead. So good call, Kyle, because we could get it. He could show up with that connection if it's true. This could be me just spitballing absolute shit.
Well, in any case, it's good, and we're getting good content. It might be the last for some time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I don't think Skeleton Crew's coming out after this for a while, so.
Unless the writer's strike comes out or stops anytime soon.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but it just I'm wondering, I'm like, is there gonna be an end date to that? Because it just seems like it's a little bit endless.
I really don't know. I haven't been paying attention to that too much, but I hope that for the sake of people's jobs that they get what they need and people come to an agreement about something, and we can just start moving forward, right? There's a middle ground to this. There's a middle ground to everything, and like as Batman would say, there's always a way. You guys have been great. We've been Fourth Mother Box. I don't know if you have anything else, Kyle, to add this evening, but I'm going to say see you guys in probably a few weeks. I know for a fact I won't be here next week, but Kyle and I have some extra content for you. So thank you for following us at Fourth Mother Box, youtube.com/Fourth Mother Box. We leave it always to Kyle for a final word. So Kyle, take it away.
I want to just leave this. Mikey boy, the turtle, I'm coming for you.
Oh, shit.